What is up, you guys? Thanks so much for clicking on this video. My name is Tara Grace, and if you're new here, I talk a lot about harm reduction and deprogramming from 12-step because I was a devout 12-step member for many years. I thought it was the only way to do recovery, but I really wasn't finding real recovery in there. And so I finally left, and I've just been, deprogramming for years. I came online and, I guess I'm just getting right into the video now. So what I wanted to talk about today was how I've really just taken like the past couple weeks and been thinking about like, what is my purpose? Like, what am I trying to do here, right? Because sometimes it just feels like, especially on TikTok, all I do is argue with 12-steppers. And I think it is important to have these conversations with them, and maybe a little bit toxic, but I like it because they prove my point every time. They prove my point with like the things that they say. So much so that I actually made this little, I call it like a bingo board, but it's not really bingo, but it's just a bunch of the common things that they say, like, it's used so much because it's like lies that 12-steppers say or things that they have been indoctrinated to believe. So for example, it's used so much because it's the most effective. Not true. The whole, well, it works if you work it. Not true. It's a spiritual program, not a religious program. Not true. Example, like anytime that you're having an issue, right? Your sponsor will be like, why don't you pray about it? Why don't you pray about it? Why don't you pray about it? The answer to everything in that program is, why don't you pray about it? But anyways, I'm getting a little bit of a tangent here. So what I want to do is I want to take each of these, I guess you would consider them objections, right? Take each of these objections and talk about them, right? And make a series talking about each one, because I think it's really important for people to understand that a lot of information that people think that they know about recovery, even if they're not from, like, even if they don't work a 12-step program, a lot of mainstream recovery has, like, it's been indoctrinated by 12-step recovery, right? So there's just so much misinformation out there when it comes to recovery that people speak like it's fact. And it's because they've been told these things by the rehabs, and stuff like that. So it's like, of course, people believe this misinformation, but that's the thing. It's misinformation. So I really want my goal not just to be to argue with 12-steppers, but to really try to bring real information and facts to people so that people can make an educated decision. I'm not telling people to leave 12-step programs. 12-step programs, I can't talk. If 12-step programs work for you, that's fabulous. That's great. But the fact of the matter is it doesn't work for so many people. And so many people keep trying to work that program because they think it's the only way to do real recovery. And people need to know that there's so many ways to live life after a substance use disorder. And once you leave the program, it's not all jails, institutions, and death. There are so many things that you can do with your life, and you don't have to, I remember I thought for so long there was never going to be a day that I didn't have to fight my addiction, right? If I had to live my life fighting my addiction until the day that I died, I wouldn't be able to do it. It was so freeing to learn that I can heal and move on, and it's not always going to be this monkey on my back, or my disease isn't going to be hiding in the closet waiting for me to have a weak moment, like we're taught so much in the rooms and in rehab. But we got to remember, the mind is a powerful thing, right? So if we believe all of these things, like when I believed a lot of the stuff that I was taught in 12-step, it became a self-fulfilled prophecy, right? Like I thought once I put a substance in my body that I lost all control. So guess what? Every time I put a substance in my body, I lost all control. Or even if I didn't lose all control, I would be like, I am not collecting a 24-hour chip over a couple of beers, right? Like I always wanted to make it worth my while. And then once I put other substances in my body, I'm like, okay, now I'm going to lose everything. And guess what? I went on to lose everything. So what you believe is extremely powerful. And I want people to know the truth. That way they can arm themselves with facts and don't create these self-fulfilled prophecies. Something people always say to me is, okay, it didn't work for you, so what? Move on. It works for other people. And for so long, I let that keep me quiet, or I let that make me sugarcoat what I said, right? But we have to stop ignoring the overwhelming amount, like the majority of people. This is the thing. It is a ton of us. Like, most of us don't find long-term recovery in those rooms. So why do we have to be silent, right? Because people are always like, oh, you're gonna make it to where somebody doesn't try the program. Listen, I'm pretty sure that most people, if they're gonna try the program, like, they're gonna try the program. Listening to me isn't gonna sway them. And if it does, I'm almost glad, because there are so many more productive and healthy and evidence-based things that people can do for their recovery these days, that it wouldn't be the worst thing if somebody didn't go to meetings and found something better. But my intent is never to sway anybody who is going to meetings or thinking about meetings. My content is specifically for the people who already know that the program doesn't work for them, or people who have left the program but have so much shame, or are thinking that, they're just waiting for the other shoe to drop because they believe all of the things that they learned in the program. They just know that the program isn't working for them, so they believe that their disease is out to get. You would be so surprised. Like, I get messages from people in all sorts of stages, right? I have people who are in the program and want to leave but are scared. I have people who just left the program. I have people who have left for weeks, months, years, like all sorts of stages, who message me, because sometimes people come across my content and they're just so, like, for me and my algorithm, I see tons of people speaking out against 12-step on TikTok, right? But it took a long time for my feed to be this way. So sometimes for a lot of people, I'm the first time that they've heard someone speaking out against the rooms, and they are so thankful. And that's why I do it. Do I receive a lot of hate and a lot of backlash? Absolutely. Does it bother me? Not anymore. It really doesn't. In fact, I enjoy it because, again, they prove my point time after time, So I really want to focus, I want to keep in my mind that my focus is to help people, because sometimes I do get a little petty with these people on TikTok, and, I gotta remember, it's not about them, right? It's about the people who think they're gonna die without that program, but they know the program doesn't work for them. That's who I really want to reach with this specific content, right? Then other stuff that I want to talk about is, my relationship with cannabis, and exploring that more, and exploring other plant medicines in a more medicinal way. Because I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface with plant medicine. I was using cannabis a little bit more medicinally. Now I'd say I use it more recreationally, but I want to start to use it more intentionally, right? So I want to kind of document that progress. I also want to I got some seeds. I want to try and, grow a little plant and document that. Then I also want to document my outreach stuff and getting that stuff, where it's more frequent and I'm doing more. It's just, there's just so much to do. There's so much to do, but I can do it. I got to get organized, and I've been saying that I got to get organized for years now. And I'd say I'm really actually making steps towards getting organized right now. So it's a start, right? Anyways, I guess I'll wrap this up. I don't even know what this is about. Oh, goodness. I don't know. But I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll talk to you next time.